Welcome back to ESPN3, the Watch ESPN app, as the Race for 8 Season 8 stop number 1 continues. My name is Dave Vincent alongside Martin Mulkerns as we have the quarterfinals underway here today, where Killian Carroll wins that game number 1, 15-12. He gets past Marco Chavez in game 2, 15-5. That was the first one. Here in game, or I should say match number 2, it's David Fink and Luis Cordova. Now, Cordova lives in this area, and he plays at this club, so he's quite familiar with all those weird bad bounces. Didn't have a great day yesterday, I don't think, but let's see if he rebounds here.
Yeah, I think that, you know, that can happen where you have a scenario that you have someone who's qualifying possibly one of their first times and starts playing very well, and you're kind of expected to win that game. And you know, Max played very well in that game too, but I expect Luis, having got through that, to improve his game today. Close skip in there. Definitely a chance to go 1-0 up.
These guys have battled throughout the years. 0-0. Dave Fink in his 40s now.
Second serve.
We had two 40-year-olds
in the quarters.
That were, yeah, in the quarterfinals, which is pretty impressive.
1-0.
If you're an older dude. But we also had a bunch of these young Gen X players that were below the age of 25. So
yeah, I think that's probably one of the big positives from this weekend that you have. It was great to see, you know, Max Langmack, Sam Esser,
Juan Canales, right?
Yeah, all these guys coming and doing well. It's great to see them coming. I feel like when I was at the few years there playing the collegiates, possibly apart from myself and Daniel Cordova. Well, I see Ryan Pesh here, of course, but not many players, I think, came through that 2 or 3 years that came to the pro stuff apart from those, whereas there's 3 or 4 coming here from that generation, which is good to see.
I agree. There's a lot of people that are really upset about, you know, the state of the sport, and I get it too, but you can't be upset about the results here this weekend. You have to enjoy seeing Max Langmack play and also Sam Esser, and both of them are darn good. I mean, we almost saw some upsets yesterday in that round of 16.
Well, Sam Esser will probably, I think, was 13-11 up on Daniel Cordova. He'll definitely probably feel that there was definitely a chance there, even with Daniel on the floor, to get back in serving at 14-13, you know, and you wouldn't know what had happened then, but he definitely had chances. And with Max then in a tiebreaker with Luis.
Right.
Which was fairly close as well.
Yeah, I mean, but again, I think it goes back with Langmack and Cordova. First time you're playing the guy, and he's 6 foot, what, 8, 10? I mean, it feels like he's a 7-footer when you're standing next to him.
2-1.
Well, you see that play there. Sorry to change the topic for a second. Like, Dave completely misjudged that. And as you said earlier, I don't think
a pro
you would normally see that. But it seems a common occurrence this weekend. Whether it's the court or the ball or a mixture of the two, but
I think it's a mixture of the two. I mean, can you see the front court there? See the divots? The ball's not hitting what these players think would be a straight shot. It comes out a little bit indifferent.
Luis is really hounding Dave's right hand there.
I think this is the great serve right here against Dave. That one that pounds into that right wall.
5-1. Short.
That wasn't Luis's best serve, yet Dave didn't even have time to get his feet set. You know, when you're out here, you could probably be critical and say that's a terrible miss, but I actually think it's the ball is traveling that fast.
The ball, the wall, whatever it is, it's certainly much quicker than, you know, back home this ball is normal. So it has something to do with the court. It must, because we don't see this back home. I mean, if you did, I don't think anybody would play.
6-1.
Great start for Luis. We're probably only 2 or 3 minutes in, and he has a 6-1 lead. This is the tricky things with 15s, isn't it? If you start like you're straight out of the traps and you're 6-1 up.
Look like that. 6-1.
Bit of natural like that.
Good shot there. Clips that right corner, pops out.
Same as Killian there in the last game, and even Marcos, when you hit that corner well, it's irretrievable, really. One of those Sean Lennon kills, you know, where he goes for the left side while front wall with the right hand.
8-1.
8-1.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great shot when you execute it.
Second serve.
I always tell people this, and I say it as a joke, but it's actually something that's true regarding Sean Lenning. Watch this play develop here. Another great shot there from Cordova. But living in the same town as Sean Lenning, he does that real quick short hop with his left that he hits to the right corner, that stiletto right to front kill, or the San Antonio spoiler, as we call here on the broadcast. But it's something that is really impossible to do, where it's a short hop and then you're able to go over it into the corner, front, right to front.
Yeah, I experienced that once or twice yesterday. It's
when I first moved to Tucson, Arizona, I tried that for like 4 months just to try to make that shot, and
11-1.
it was so hard. I made it one time, and I felt like I had to go to the emergency room because my shoulder hurt so bad. I mean, it was, but with him, he's able to just do it.
I think Sean's able to generate a lot of action on the ball just with the wrist without even swinging. As regards this game, it's 12 side away, 11-1. Would you have expected that to be a timeout or something at this stage? Or?
Yeah, but no, because Fink doesn't call. He doesn't like to call timeouts. He thinks there shouldn't be any timeouts. Now we'll see if he can do something with his serve that Luis just did with his. I mean, that was a very quick. I mean, we're only like 8 minutes into this, and it's already 11-1.
Yeah, I know Killian probably would have a similar approach. I know, and that wouldn't be new. He would have done that over the years, where even if he's down, he'll keep playing. Now, he did call a few timeouts in the Worlds, which probably is surprising for him. But I do think possibly at 6 or 7-1, they're just break the play even for 1 minute, regroup yourself. I think he had a few unlucky misses where he could. Just the feet weren't right, that possibly just a few seconds to regroup might have been beneficial.
No, I agree with you on that.
Point 1 or 2 serves 1.
No, 2 serves 1. 12 serves 1, you mean?
Sign out.
2 serves 1 is how we would say it in practice.
Yes.
I don't know who developed that or why we do that, but that's kind of a practice call. That was a screen. Good call from the ref.
1 serves 12.
You know about the World Championships and calling those timeouts. I think, and you know this because you get up there and you see that there's all of these people watching, and there's a little bit of anxiety just to be on the court to begin with, and so you got a lot of that building up, and what it does is it takes away your breath. You tighten up, and your breath you're not getting these full breaths like you really want. So taking a timeout is, I think, expected in those situations.
Sign out.
And that's that vintage Dave Fink left to front with the left-hand shot. You've seen that 1,000 times.
112.
He seems to be, what can happen very regular is you get stuck on a number and it just seems like you can't get off it, because he's got to serve now quite a number of times, but that's a good shot. That's kind of classic, once you say it, then the opposite happens. Commentators curse.
Well, Dave is wishing that you would have started cursing earlier.
2 serves 12.
That's a great shot, inside out. A lot of control there.
I thought he played some great serves yesterday in the game that I saw him play. If they were really straightening into that left corner and not even making the back wall. That comes around.
See how that ball sticks up?
Make contact.
Not happy. He's not happy. What was he looking for there?
He said he wanted to hinder.
On the bounce of the ball, or
right before he took his shot, he felt that Luis screened around him. I didn't necessarily see it.
Is that like my scenario there, where he gets that one shot advantage, doesn't win, but now gets a replay? But I didn't actually see a screen there, but
13 serves 2.
this is the roof now. Set up.
You play that. Thirteen 2.
Good serve.
Wow.
Serve and shoot.
That was a perfect first strike there for
14-2.
Luis Cordova. And this is,
Chance to close out the first game.
yeah, game number 1.
Here it is.
Game point.
Another setup. Overcooks it.
And that first one going to Luis Cordova. We are up close and personal with David Fink, who sat with Karamak just a few minutes ago, in fact. Let's go to that piece.
You're up close and personal with Dave Fink. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Great to be here.
What makes you doing great right now?
Well, it's the first stop of the year. I'm really happy to kick off the season. It's great to see everybody. I'm looking forward to playing. And it's great to be healthy and able to play.
So biggest goals for this season coming in with the first tournament?
I want to win a race stop. That's always my goal. I've come close. I've been in 3 finals. So my goal is to take it to the next step and win one of these. So that's what I'm always going to be shooting for until I get it.
So what do you do as far as, I know you go through a lot of practicing, you train a ton, but as far as visualizing, is there anything else that you do as far as mentally getting ready for these?
Well, when I'm visualizing, I never lose. I don't even lose points. So
That's good.
it is, it's wonderful. It doesn't always work out that way in the match, though. But, the beginning of the season, everyone's feeling good. Everyone is excited to be playing. You don't have any memory of any of these losses that you might have had last season or previous season, so you're coming in fresh and, very optimistic. And that's how I feel right now.
You wear your emotions on your sleeves. When has been the time that you've been proudest of yourself?
Well, I think when I reached number 1, I was in a great place mentally. I was very focused. I was, just taking one point at a time and just playing as well as I could. I wasn't letting myself be upset about what I thought might have been bad calls or bad shots, and I just kind of kept going, just kept playing. So that was very proud moment for me, and I hope to get back to that state, that mental state again.
How old's your son now?
My son is 6.
6, okay. I was just thinking the other day, because I'm 40 like you are, and having kids being 40, it's kind of fun because you're able to look back and have a good perspective, I feel like.
Oh, it's just being a dad's my favorite thing. My wife and I are so blessed, and couldn't be happier.
Is he more like you, or is he more like your wife?
He's actually, in the last couple months, started becoming so much like me that my wife is so upset. She's like, I can't believe you taught him this. Look at what he's saying now. He's learning all my little inside jokes, and he teases his mom like I do. And
you got to give me an example. When has she called you out and been like, oh my gosh, she picked that up?
I sing these crazy songs about my wife, and he picks up on them. And now he sings them all day, just walking around the house. And I don't even want to sing them because they're so ridiculous, but he'll be playing with his toys, and he's just singing these ridiculous lyrics that I've taught him. And she says, Henry, can't believe you taught him this. He's developing this crazy, funny personality. And, he's starting to really understand the little sarcastic things, and he makes his own jokes, and it's wonderful. It's amazing.
Did he get your competitiveness?
Unfortunately, yes. And
oh, come on, you got to be proud of that a little bit, aren't you?
He's playing a lot of tennis now, and I tell him, I just have fun. That's why you play. It doesn't matter if you win or lose, and he just gets so frustrated. And he's a perfectionist, and if he misses a shot, he's upset. And I just try and tell him, I don't care if you win or lose. It doesn't matter to me. But something about him, I hope it's not from him watching me, but I'm afraid that it probably is, because these little kids, they pick up on everything. So I hope it's not from watching me, but he is just such a perfectionist, and he wants to just do everything just perfectly. And he won't do something unless he knows he can do it. So all these years I've been teaching him sports, and he wouldn't do them until he felt ready to do them. And now all of a sudden it's just, he's had this amazing breakthrough where he went from not being able to hit the ball to now rallying and hitting a beautiful swing. And So I think in his mind, when he feels ready is when he does it.
So when you take him on in tennis and you win the point, what do you try to teach him?
Well, you know, now I'm trying to not keep score when he and I play. He does fine, it seems like, when he plays with other people, but for some reason when he plays with me, he gets so upset if he's not winning. And I try and explain to him that no 6-year-old has ever beat a 40-year-old, ever, you know, and it doesn't help. So we kind of just rally, and I teach him. And when he plays, you know, he actually won his first tournament, and he was fine. You know, he wasn't upset with himself or anything. Something about playing me, though, and I understand, because I was like that with my dad. I was just out of control. I mean, expecting to beat my dad when I was 5 years old in handball, it's not even practical. But yet, something about, I think when a son plays his dad, he just feels like, I want to win, and I should win. Yeah.
And it will happen someday.
Someday, I hope it does, yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
I don't know about that. I don't know if he hopes that his son beats him. Dave's so competitive.
Yeah, Henry, as I
Game
think
two,
Dave was
Dave
saying, he
Fink
won his
serving.
first tennis tournament there. He was telling me
0-0.
yesterday. So he's obviously grown a lot since I was there. I think it was possibly November 2013 when I was there. So
Right.
he's obviously
No, he's
5 years
grown.
older now. So
He's an amazing little dude. Very funny. Actually has a great personality. Might even be a stand-up comedian, that guy. I don't know if I've ever seen a child his age that funny, like purposely funny, always playing practical jokes. I mean, everything is, it's almost like his, whatever he does in his life, it's going to be full of happiness. Somebody's going to be laughing at all times. I mean, he's very funny. Or at least he thinks everything is funny, because he's laughing all the time.
So a bit better of a start for Dave in game 2 here. He's the smallest of leads.
That first one went to Luis Cordova, 15-2.
Very quick game.
It was only about 15 minutes, a little bit less than that, I'm being told.
Great passing shot.
0-1.
I don't know. I think Dave seems a little bit.
Short.
It's good play from Luis as well, of course, but he seemed a little bit flat
Second
today.
serve.
The serves that I saw him playing yesterday don't seem to be going in. There's where our debate
1-0.
earlier is the downside of it, where you do a double short.
Right, yeah. But is it that much of a downside? I mean, what the benefits of it is your second serve could be generating points.
0-0.
That's what you're talking about, right? I mean, look at Sean Lenning. He's got so many ace serves off of his second serve.
Yeah.
Other players think you're just going to throw it in and they're going to be defensive or maybe have an offensive opportunity. With someone like Sean, he's going for a crack, and
he goes for it, and a lot of the time it comes around. I still feel if you execute a 3-wall serve very well, or you know, I suppose if you watch Paul playing or someone like that, that's nearly his go-to second serve. It doesn't make it right, but
That's a point.
sometimes I think when we're in practice, all you're doing is low and hard, bang, bang.
One serve,
Whereas
two.
sometimes when you throw in that other one, you might just get the weak return just as easily as you would.
yeah, I think
Like
it's
when we go for this low hard serve, you can just as easily hit a revolving door, which is as much of a
Absolutely.
setup as a
Yeah.
short
Serve,
3-wall.
all good.
I agree.
Couldn't
Yeah,
see
I
it,
think
one
that's,
agrees. I'm calling a point.
you know, throwing the ball in, an underhand
Yeah,
little
too.
lob type, throw the ball in is an effective serve anyway. It just depends on when you decide to use it. If you're doing it all the time, it might not be effective. You do it on your second serve, you have a good chance of throwing your opponent off, even if they are a pro or a top player. But I'm just saying that I don't think that hard go for the crack second serve is a bad idea either, if you feel it. I mean, if you're feeling it and you're confident, I say go for it. Take the chance, but I don't think it's a chance. I think, you know when you're feeling it when you're feeling it.
I suppose the argument could be made. You go over there and you do the 3-wall serve. You
could hit a
setup,
setup,
and you could just hit it short, and it's as much of a setup as it's as much of a giveaway as the second short. You know, you've just handed it to him. But now he's confident that he's rolled the ball as well.
I think it's just about if you feel it and do what you feel. And what is Dave Fink doing here? Obviously, he's dictating the pace now. I mean, he's pushing Luis back, and
Luis is having to make some extra gets. He's really going, stretching for balls. I think Dave's moving him a lot better here. Interesting that Dave seems to be going serving to the right now. He hasn't located that left serve that was working so well yesterday, but incredible gets. Some good gets there from Luis. Dave shoots.
it seems like the ball's also settling in here just a little bit.
What's up? Yeah.
So it'll be an equipment timeout.
Equipment.
Glove change. I don't know, is Dave tired there? His hands on the knees, but
Well, you know, he's 41 years old.
yeah. But he's probably, you know this better than I do, but he's probably as good a shape as any 41-year-old you're ever going to see anywhere. So.
Absolutely. You know, earlier we were talking to Dave Fink. Obviously, we've featured him here a few times, but we asked him about Luis Cordova, and this is what Dave Fink had to say.
Well, Luis and I have had a long rivalry. He's very, very tough. He's got a great right hand. His serve is looking really good, and he really covers the court well. So I'll have to make my shots, and hopefully I'll get a good serve going. Well, I don't think there's anything to pick on because he's very solid all around. I'm going to just try and hit the best shots I can. You know, my serve down the left. Hopefully hit some good kills with my left and right. I won the last time we played. I think he won the time before that. We've probably played 12 times, so we both got some wins. But once you get in there, those matches are good.
I think he was about to say those matches are irrelevant, but
well, they kind of are in a way, but sometimes, you know, with a new player, they are relevant. I think with these guys, they played so many times. I'm not sure if you could remember, you know, a loss from 2009 and say that that has anything to do with what's happening today. I think with some players, though, it is relevant.
It would be relevant if you're someone who's never beaten the other player, I think. But if you've kind of divided the wins or it's kind of broken relatively evenly, then probably not.
I'm the type of player that dwells on, you know, losses, so I would remember, and it would always be relevant, no matter if I was the winner or the loser.
5-2.
Trying to chase the winner, everything would be relevant for me. But for some players, they don't look at, like, you know, Killian, for example. He just does exactly what Dave said. I'm just going to go in there and try to make my shot and execute my shot. I'm not even thinking about who I'm playing. I think that's true for some players. I think other ones actually do have game plans versus certain players. You know, in the old days, you might remember Luis Cordova, you would actually just pick on his left hand. But he's gotten better with that left hand. And you might not pick on it as much. See, that was a serve right there that you could get Luis Cordova on every single time in the old days. And then he went back in and started working on it. He gave a weak return, and of course the announcer's curse, but nearly a complete reversal here of game one.
8-2 to Dave. He seems to be getting his serve in a nice reverse down the right a minute ago into Luis's chest, and a good serve to the left there now.
Well, he's certainly settling in.
Left court.
That's a great shot. I mean, threading the needle to that right corner. He has kind of a wide right corner here. I don't know. He wants to get as close as he can to Luis on that, but without hitting him, and that's just a perfect shot.
9-2, timeout Cordova. He's definitely trying to, unlike Dave in the first game, he's trying to break that momentum, but.
You know, we spoke with Fink about what he needed to do against Luis. Here's what Luis said about Dave Fink a little bit earlier.
I just have to play hard. I feel like a lot of times when I play Fink, he makes some good shots, and I just get it like in a little lull, like, I don't know. And then on other times I play him hard and I do well, so I just got to go in and play hard.
What do you feel like you're doing really well lately?
I think what I'm doing a lot better than I've ever done is serving. My serve is really working lately.
Well, he had some good serves in game number one.
9-2.
9-2 here in game two. He finds himself down, and really Dave is doing what Dave said, trying to make sure that he's locating that serve to the left. And that's what he's done here in game number two. Plus, I think Fink is actually dictating traffic He wasn't doing that at all in game number 1. And a lot of that is because he's in the server's box and you're already up front, and it seems to be a mentality thing when you're serving to try to be the one that's dictating the flow of the game.
This is probably the point of the game where Luis could kind of stay in it. If Dave were to push on to 11 or 12-3 here, you're probably definitely looking at a tiebreaker, whereas he's got 2 points in a row now. Good kill there to the right. If he were to get to 5 or even 6 here and possibly a quick handout again off Dave, I'm sure he feels like he's well in it and can win the second one. Both very close to each other there.
Oh, how does he miss that?
Point.
Fink should have won that rally, but
5-9.
I think coming back to, the Cordovas, Daniel's the same. They play hard, and Luis is making these extra gets here. He's making Dave work for it anyway.
Yeah, both of the brothers, the Flying Cordova brothers, are
9-5.
get artists, and they are going to try to grind you down in the court and wear you out. That was a screen serve.
Really? Was it high? I couldn't tell if it was high. It looked like it was really close to him.
Oh, that was definitely a screen, but see, that kind of goes with some of your philosophy. I mean,
well, my philosophy on that would be let him hit
let
that,
him
and
play
if he
it.
rolls it, okay. If he doesn't win or pass, if he doesn't win on that shot, just say okay, play over.
yeah, see, to me, you want to take that as a receiver. You're not screened because the ball's coming off the back wall.
But it was on this second pane in. It's a setup really.
Yeah.
You haven't even to move.
Well, your play isn't where it's being screened. You're going to be turning around and taking that ball off the back wall. So why would you care how close it is to the server? I mean, I don't.
Was Luis saying he wanted the shot there?
Yes, he was saying it wasn't.
So it's a
screen.
good not call, is what you say,
right.
when the referee.
But it
says
is
nothing.
totally a screen.
Yeah.
Right. So it's one of those that as a referee to say, well, he's not even gonna. He's not taking that ball out of the air. He's taking it off the back wall.
Right up.
And that's been great execution so far here in the second game for Fink. That shot where he's breaking over the top.
10-5.
I think Dave's going to win the second game. I think Luis is struggling at the moment. The momentum has changed.
Well, you
There's
said
another point.
You said it earlier. It just has that feel of game number 1, but in reverse.
11-5. Short. Second serve. Point.
It's an easy point.
12-5.
That was what Dave used to do when he dominated Luis early, was that serve. That was the one that Luis used to not be able to get to.
All right. Saw him hold. The ball was up. It was contact. Okay.
Dave's going to say something here, I feel.
Yeah, it was up.
Well, the ball did hit the sidewall and check, right?
I think
he could have got
Luis
that.
would have got that.
Yeah.
I think Dave knows that. I think if he believed he wouldn't have got it, he would have argued a bit more.
That's a big setup here. Good hands. I know this is ridiculous to say, but I think maybe you can understand what I'm saying. You saw there, I believe it was Luis that hit that corner really close to the front wall, hits the side wall about
13-5.
3 inches or so, and then hits the front wall and shoots across the court really fast. We've seen that shot many times in our life.
Replay it?
The crazy comment is, could you go in there and work on that and try to make that a shot? Because no one really is able to catch up to it once he hits that sidewall first, the front wall, and then shoots across the court really fast. It's such a great shot, but it's usually your opponent looks like they're just, the timing's wrong and they're not even close to getting to it. And it never usually results in anything positive for your opponent because the ball's so fast, it just jumps out of that corner. Is that something you can actually go in and try to actually make as an offensive shot? I mean, because I
suppose it is.
I think Killian could do it, right? I mean, I think he could go in there and work on it, but I've never seen anybody ever defend it. I don't know if you could even get the ball back. It hits that corner so fast it comes right out.
Yeah.
It's
I'm sure if
it's
you
a
went
miss
in
hit technically. I don't think they're really doing it on purpose, but if you were able to do it on purpose, it works as sort of like this crazy, it's like a 2-wall pass in a way.
On the right. No, he goes to the left corner. Luis has been, he kind of made that burst. We said that possibly at it was 9-3, he got to 5. We were like, possibly this could be the chance to stay in the game, but I think he's got stuck on 5 and Dave's pushed on to 13. And
Right.
I really don't see any way back for him in this second game.
13-6.
It's going to take, he has to get in the server's box first. He just doesn't have the opportunities. Nice run down, but these serves right here are very important.
6-13.
Oh, it's actually 6.
Short.
I thought he was still stuck on 5.
Well, I did too, but I think there was a point back there that
Second serve.
we thought was not going to be called a point. That's a good
Great.
shot right there.
What?
That's nasty.
Shoulder high rollout from 38 feet. It's probably not something you advocate to the juniors to be doing.
No, but
you do it anyway.
you do what you feel, I guess, and that he felt like he knew what he was doing there. Now we're at 8-13, and no argument from Fink on that serve, which looked like it could have been called short.
But Luis is finding his groove again here. Do you think there's an opening here to
Yes,
possibly sneak this one?
But this is where Fink should take timeouts, I think.
Play.
Oh, wow, that was a nice get from Cordova there. The crowd oohing on that, but that was definitely a replay. I mean,
absolutely.
Cordova got it. Fink would have gotten the next one. So, but this is where I say you do call the timeout just to break the momentum, because right now Luis is not just scoring, but he's scoring quickly. See, these are all quick. You'd have to call a timeout right here.
Well, I think obviously Luis isn't going to call it.
No, but
he's got 4 points in a row. He's got all the momentum now.
Right.
You know, even if Dave gets in, he feels like he hasn't won a point now in 2-3 minutes. You know, at this level, they are a tactical resource, I suppose.
Call this one. Huh?
Actually,
Well, he's completely hindered.
He's hindered, and he goes in there with a fist.
And
That was a
gets the hand
high
on.
fist.
I think you have to give a replay in that scenario.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know
100%.
how there can be a comment on it. He didn't even run into him. He ran around him.
I don't know if I've ever seen anybody dive with a fist shot like that. I'm sure it happens all the time, but
Okay.
interesting.
10-13.
Well, Dave's funny because I always have this view of Dave where he's probably the only player that gets vocal like that but can actually turn around and still play well.
Yeah.
Usually when you hear players doing that, you're like, okay, they're close to the meltdown now.
Yeah, right. You want him to get to that point, not with Dave.
But I do think there's... Oh, what a chance that was for Luis. He didn't take it. That was to go 12-13.
Yeah, that was a...
He could regret that shot.
Yeah, you see him, the scowl on his face when he walks back. No, there's, you know, a guy like Sean Linney, when he gets upset, you don't want to be in the court with him because you can never score again when he's mad. Oh, that ball clips the wall. Could have been called a screen if it didn't clip that wall like that.
Had it come straight down the wall, it probably would have been another play over. But
And this is to go into a tiebreaker if Fink scores one more point. And he goes for it and gets it. And Dave Fink forces a tiebreaker here.
so I guess if he watches this back, he'll probably be saying we were wrong about this timeout call.
No, I doubt. I doubt. I think he would be. Yeah, you're right. Maybe he would say that. You wouldn't be wrong about the hinder call, though.
No, he wouldn't. But I still think it's the right thing to do, probably, to break the play there.
Yeah, no. What a good reversal game here. It was fun to see Luis come back there at the end, but Dave really dominated that whole one, the whole match, or second game, I should say. As we have this really cool feature with Luis Cordova. We've had the Karamak features with the other players that you've seen. Let's go to that one with Karamak just a little bit earlier today.
We are up close and personal. I've got Luis Cordova, home court advantage, right?
Yep. Feels good to be home.
Does it for the first big tournament of the season? What is it like to have everybody here?
I love it. It's only the second time they've ever had it anywhere where I'm close to, so
Yeah.
it's just fun to have all your friends around and stuff. Invite them to the house after the games. It's pretty cool.
So that's how this is going to roll, is we're all going over to your house.
Well, last year that's how it was, but this year we got another buddy of ours hosting the party, so yeah, you guys are invited.
Oh, yay. And you have, so talk about your kids right now. I know they're sick, they're under the weather, so it's kind of nice that you're here, but maybe not, right?
Yeah, they're with a fever, and with the mom's taking care of them right now. They'll be here in a couple hours.
And if you'd see his sons, they're adorable. They have the same hair, everything going on. And I know your brother, he says that he's living with you. What's it like to have Uncle Danny around?
Oh, it's good. I mean, it's always fun that we're always, the whole family's always together. We always do everything together, so it's cool.
Oh, come on, your kids must ask you to do something. And you're like, okay, go hit up Uncle Danny.
Yeah, I try, but then he just looks at him like, and then they come back to me, and then, okay, I have to get up.
Oh, you should be more help than that.
Nope. I try. I'm training him, but he doesn't get it yet.
Any easier or harder to actually be here in Atlanta for the tournament versus being able to travel and be away?
I don't know. Kind of both. It's kind of tough because like this morning I had to wake up, going to work. I worked for like half a day, and then come out. Like I had to wake up early, and then I'm here now, and I don't know. When you're away, you just go home. You go to the hotel, sleep, wake up whenever you're gonna play, and you know you're just not thinking about anything. Here I'm more, the kids, this, that, you know.
Favorite person to beat on the court?
Favorite person to beat, I don't know. I think it would have been Nari Alvarado Jr. if I ever got to beat him, but I didn't.
About now, though, who do you like to come into these tournaments? Who makes you smile the most when you walk out of that court after a good victory?
I don't know. I don't think I have. That's a good question, but I don't think I have somebody that. I mean, all of them are my friends. I don't feel like I dislike anybody more than anybody else. I don't know.
Best thing in Atlanta to do?
Well, if you got kids, then Six Flags is fun. Football games, there's all the pro sports are here. So if you're into sports, there's a lot of stuff. Concerts every weekend, just everything. A lot of stuff for anybody.
And I'm wondering, are you jealous at all of the friendship bracelet that your brother has with Sean Lennon?
Oh, I actually have one, and I had to take. It kept on falling, so I'm like, I guess I'm not. It was like destiny or something.
It was just destiny. You're out of that loop. You're the third wheel at this point.
Yep.
All right, thank you so much.
I want one of those friendship bracelets from Sean Lenning. That's a good insight there with Luis Cordova. Stays on the court. Don't know if that plays into Fink's mind just a little bit. As Luis Cordova's there early, warming up, he's going to get the first serve because he scored more points in the combined game number 1 and number 2. So we will go to 15 here, and you have to win by 2 in game number 3 as both players shake hands. Back into the booth is Martin Mulkerns.
0-0.
First one went to Daniel Cordova, Martin, 15-2, but then he loses 11-15.
Yeah, it's kind of anyone's game now. It'll be, I suppose, towards the end of that game, although Dave got the last 2 points, Luis had come back from maybe 13-5 or 6, so he had got 6 or 7 of the last 9 points.
Well, he certainly got the momentum. He's got that first point here, and he had a gobble of points there at the end of game number 2.
I set up here.
He seems much more aggressive in this third set. I like how these top players are getting creative with their ceiling shots.
Well, what happened, I think, there is because I was trying to do it yesterday. I was still in probably 21 ball and Irish ball mentality where you can probably get away with that. Or play them without giving a big setup, but you're trying to hit further back on the roof as well. I think Dave did that there and probably just went a bit too far back. I suppose it's all coming back to trying to keep it off the glass, but that was a good one.
See, that's another one that backfires on Luis. He tried to go with more of a, he jumped up, but he still had control of that ball. Tries to paddle it instead of making it go to the ceiling, and it checks up, and Dave puts it away.
how do you see it from your experience? You know, a tiebreaker here and then going in, one of these guys has to turn around later on today and play Killian. It's not ideal. I'd imagine both players wanted to go in there and win in 2 straight, but they're going to play here, possibly a tight game, but definitely in the court for an extra
30 minutes maybe.
30 minutes,
yeah.
Then go in and play Killian this evening.
Yeah, I've heard players say they don't like it, but they feel like, I think under the scenario of trying to figure out this ball in these courts, I don't think 30 minutes is going to hurt you and might actually help.
That's a fair
You might find something here. Might find a serve. I mean, you can clearly see that Killian was still trying to find himself throughout his match as well. So I think as much experience as you can get with this ball on this wall might be a good thing. I mean, look at Fink in game number 2. It seemed like he found himself there, and there's a timeout being called from David Fink.
I think everything has kind of went against him here. He went for the corner there. Possibly, of course, it's so easy from out here, but a straight kill there would have surely won that.
Except that's kind of his go-to shot, that corner kill. Even with the right hand, it does well in that right corner. So you kind of go with what, you know, brought you there. But you're right.
I guess it depends on the positioning of the other player. Well, I know what you're saying.
We saw in that game number 1 of the earlier match today, Marco Chavez, if you were watching as well on some of that stuff, you see those punch fist shots that he hit against Killian were just amazing.
Yeah.
A punch fist down that right wall right there from Dave Fink would have done the job if you can keep it off the back wall. Because Luis was looking for that right corner kill.
It's saying 3-0 here. I think it could be
Might be 4, yeah.
But so an exciting kind of year ahead. Looking at the program, you have Tucson next month, then Portland, Montana, January, and what happens after that? There's a few others qualifier kind of tournaments in there as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting season actually. It's
coming in.
I think you have one in New York. Dave was mentioning in April.
The LTEs, the Houstons, the New York, Salt Lake City. I mean, it's an action-packed pro tour season. But we also had that one in San Francisco in February, the one that you went to before.
The Olympic Club?
Yeah, so that's going to be a fun one added to the list.
Is that one of these kind of qualifier ones?
Yeah, this is just like this tournament here. So it'll be a full main stop in San Francisco.
Okay. And then finish Salt Lake City in late April, May, is it?
Yep.
0-4.
I remember going to Alcatraz with you, in fact, in San Francisco. It was a really fun stop. Out of all the stops that we had, I really enjoyed that one.
It was probably for me as well, it was probably one of those rare times where a lot of the time we come, I think here, probably in Atlanta as well, it's a great venue, but it's not as easy to go and see things possibly, whereas in Chicago or in San Francisco, we got to do things, obviously because you're in the city and things are nearby, but yeah, that was
a good stop. It was one of my favorites. But then again, I'm from Northern California, so, I'm returning home for the first time in many years. It was nice to come back.
I haven't obviously been to as much as a lot of the players here, but Idaho I thought was a nice place as well.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, it was great.
Out in
the lake. Yeah, that was great. With Jake Plummer.
2-4.
Yeah, that was good stuff. I remember that.
So Dave is making a comeback here, 2-4.
Well, he's playing a little bit more calmly here and executing some of his shots.
You could argue now that the timeout was a
Smart,
good call.
Yeah. Well, he scored 2 unanswered since, and he's still serving.
And he's getting chance after chance here. Luis has given him at least 3, if not 4 back calls, but he manages to get a side out.
He's tired here. But see, he just missed that shot. And then this one is just powered past him.
Uncharacteristic miss there. They are tricky. They're kind of low. I think possibly indecision as well. Am I going to try palm this in? Am I going to swing at it fully? Am I going to fist it?
Yep. And when you're tired, it seems like it's just harder to do.
Right out.
I've been in those positions where you're tired and those short hops off the wall, your reflexes are also tired. But when you're fresh, it seems like you can always get a hand on it.
2-5.
Might not do what you want to do, but I've seen players open up their hand as wide as they can with their fingers out just to try to just have any part of the ball touch their hand. Boy, that's an awesome shot.
He came over the top, stayed down.
Dave looks like he's gassed
3-5.
right now.
Well, he seems to be crouched over there before that serve, kind of gasping for air, and he took that uncharacteristic timeout as well. So, but Luis seems to be hitting some casual shots as well.
That's so beautiful right there. Amazing shot. We've seen that from Dave since he was about 7 years old.
4-5.
And that was always a shot that he was able to do.
Second serve.
That got Dave earlier and he got him again. It's a power paddle. Kind of a big ball shot, but he hits it with authority. Talking about Cordova, who leads here 5-4 in the breaker.
5-4.
Dave's recovered well, 4-0 start. He's back well within this game.
Second serve.
Has probably hit the better shots in the last few minutes.
Oh, and he had another one there. He's like upset with himself, but he had that one as well. If you like offense, you would like watching a Dave Fink match because he does go for the bottom board as much as anybody.
Looked like a little bit of a miss hit, but
boy, that's also another miss hit, I think, from Luis. Nice. That's a fist, right?
I can't say for sure, but it was.
We'll see on the replay. Tell me if you think he's hitting this with his fist or not.
I thought he was screened first of all.
Watch this. It is a fist.
Wow. And the feet completely wrong, facing the front wall.
He's letting that ball slide off his knuckle, right? Because that was one of those balls that he's feathering into the right corner on a fist shot.
That probably should have got a few more claps than it did.
Yeah. I think it was hard for people to see that he actually did hit that with a fist.
Well, he was screened as well.
That's a nice shot. Not only, that was a nice shot there at the end, but kind of almost one of those modified screen serves as well, which a referee doesn't always seem to want to call.
Sorry about that.
But, you know, I mean, and it's not the referee's fault. Their position on the upper top left. I'm not saying it was a screen. I'm just saying that it.
Well, I think he let the play go. You know, it's probably one of those scenarios that we spoke about where you can just let the play go, let the player shoot. He won. No need to call anything.
And it is what it is, as it should be.
Should it be a replay is what I suppose is the argument then if he misses it.
If the referee is going to start calling matches like that, people would be upset.
I think
where
so.
if they played it by the exact rule.
5-7.
But yeah, you could go all lawyer up on this and you know, call the game like you're a lawyer, I guess. I've seen some players do that.
There's another over the top fist.
Marco Chavez calls that the chisel. I call it the tomahawk.
5-7-5.
7-5 here.
Luis definitely playing aggressive the last few minutes.
That ball stays up. Unbelievable get there from Luis. Dave had the point or the side out, and Luis was able to dig through it. Dave should have won that side out here.
I thought he probably had an opportunity before this, what we're seeing here, to just hit a straight shot. Again, it was corner. It checked up. Again, it was a fantastic get by Luis. It was within millimeters of perfect, in fairness. But
ball hits that right side wall, and you don't even know what's going to happen. Luis is somehow able to get a hand underneath it. Now he leads 8-5. This is game number 3. This is the quarterfinals. Winner will advance to face Killian Carroll later this afternoon. So you win, you kind of lose in a way, but not to say that You can't beat Killian Carroll, but really nobody can. So, I mean, that's
And
what
then
your award is. But I think if you were to beat Killian Carroll, it's going to be at this tournament.
It's early in the season.
Well, he doesn't look sharp.
You know,
but much like Paul Brady, Killian Carroll seems to get better with rounds. So,
well, I suppose
the
most players will. He's getting more time with the ball. Thought we were going to see a second time out there from Dave. An uncharacteristic miss there, but great power
9-5
from Luis.
I think there's a little slight wrinkle on that ball that Dave missed. But there was a lot of power as well.
I was chatting to Luis and Daniel during the week.
Second serve.
They do their strength and conditioning and kind of workouts out the back here, and they get to play it a few times a week as well.
It's a good shot there, and crowd now clapping after every single point for Luis Cordova.
Want to feel that? Want to feel that? Back corner, barely tough.
I don't think he's going to do anything about it, to be honest.
About what was he saying?
Did he say it's too slow in that back
Take the
corner?
ball.
Not coming out properly? I'm not quite sure,
Okay.
but I don't think there's going to be any call here.
Time out.
But Luis has
Take a
taken
glove.
another equipment change.
Take the glove, please.
Find that a bit unusual if you have kind of the momentum. Would you not throw out another serve here?
Yeah, but I think he looks down at his gloves and sees that they're wet. Let's go really quickly to Karamak, who has Daniel Cordova, brother of Luis, here courtside.
And you're hanging out tiebreaker, even though you have the next match, watching this one take on.
Yeah.
What do you think your brother is doing right? What does he have to pull off here to pull it off?
He's not being able to shoot it. He's not putting it down very well. He had a bunch of setups on this last couple rallies, and so he's just hustling. I think that's what he's got to do right now. Sometimes you don't have it, and all you have to do is just hustle. Just try to get everything, keep the pressure on the other guy, and hope that he misses, which is tough when it's someone like Fink at that level that they don't ever miss. It's tough, but I think he can pull it off.
Fink takes that one, though, in the beginning of that first game. What did Luis learn that he had to come back with?
Fink, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was switched. As far as you know. Sorry.
Okay, so Fink won the second game. Yeah. I don't know, I think my brother kind of loosened up. Maybe sometimes when you win the first game and you feel good, you want to just kind of, you try not to change anything, but sometimes you don't realize in your head you're kind of bringing your level a little down. And I'd say 80% of the time it goes against you when it's weird. It's mental, something mental when you win the first game. And then for the person that lost it also comes in with a little extra drive. So I feel like he knows that he doesn't have all his he's not as sharp as he usually is, but he knows that he has to just play hard. This is really important for points and the rankings, so it's gonna be big. This is a big tiebreaker here.
He comes out in between games, in between timeouts, sits next to you. You don't really interact too much, but you can hear some chirping going on between the two of you. What kind of advice are you giving him?
It's just small things. At this point, I don't want to give him anything too big. It's just small little tips that I know. Like maybe I notice that something that bothers Fink, and I tell him, hey, hit it here, or hey, do the serve, or hey, I try not to say too much when you're in those kinds of games. You try to keep it simple.
I was asking you earlier whether or not it matters to the two of you if you actually look when you'll meet up, when you'll actually see each other in a tournament. How does that play into anything?
It depends. If it's early in the rounds, we'll think about it. But if it's like this tournament, it would be the final. We're not trying to think too far ahead. We're just trying to think of our next match. But it would be, it's always in the back of our mind, like it would be cool to meet in a final or something like that. So it's there.
I know you have some warm-up to get to, some stretching, so I'll let you do that. Good luck against Emmett.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Yep. Thank you very much, Kara. I like the comment of, I like to give him some stuff, but I don't tell him too much. Because I think there's times when a coach goes in there and overanalyzes, and then all of a sudden the player just has all of this information. Then now they're not, they come out so dry. They're not sharp at all.
Yeah, I think it's probably good advice. You can probably only take 2 or 3 small things in on board there. You're not going to be able to change everything in 2 minutes. I suppose a lot of it's dictated by the other player as well and what way they're hitting the ball to you, but I'm sure 1 or 2 little things, maybe take that extra second and just go for your kill, and
Yeah, I mean,
something small.
Your coach could say, he's not handling that serve to the right, and then you serve to the right, and he's now hitting flat kills. You can say it was bad coaching advice, but it's actually a true statement. I mean, it was true up until that moment when he started killing it. But really, I say coaches are really just there for moral support. I've had some people that would sit there and just say the nice, positive things, and it's like, hey, I can't win for myself, but I might want to win for this guy because he's rooting for me. I don't know anybody else rooting for me. It does make a difference, I think. And there's a nice, quick serve there from Luis, now at 11-5.
11-5.
Luis has definitely got the crowd behind him now, too.
And that 2 minutes of an equipment change definitely hasn't benefited Dave. 3 points in a row, a cracked serve, kind of a kill from shoulder height, and another good serve to
short. Second serve.
Luis likes that second serve. He seemed to go to a lot in the World Championships as well. His singles and doubles played it a lot.
That little flip in,
the little chip. I see Marcos is doing it very well. Got a lot of return out of it in the game before this against Killian.
That's an old David Silvera serve, who you don't remember.
I wouldn't know him as well, but I definitely saw Alan Garner playing it a lot.
Yeah, I know. Alan, I felt, had the best version of that, but Marcos kind of has made it more famous. But Luis is, I think, he's got the higher ranking, and he does it all the time.
That's Dave's shot.
Yep, that's it. I mean, we always say before the tournament starts, we go over there with the Sharpie and just right in that corner, Dave Fink's shot. That's the one that he takes. Amazing.
He's appealing the serve. I call it good. Won't agree.
He's asking for a...
Referee's going to, technically, the referee should be coming down here to look himself because we can't make this call for him, but we'll look at the replay here really quick and we'll tell him.
Have to come over.
It looked like it was close. I mean, I can tell you that. This camera angle is not going to be definitive.
I thought it actually might be short.
It could have hit that line. I mean, right?
Very hard to tell, but it looked, I actually think it is short. Just in here inside this line.
It's going to be over here as our referee is. It's going to be here. Let the referee see it one more time, Chris. Yeah, just watch it there closely. Our referee, Lauren Collado, is in the booth looking at this replay. It's going to be the referee's call no matter what. Referee's called it good, and he thinks it's good. You and I both think it was short.
I do honestly think it is short.
Yeah,
but
we don't make the call.
It seems to me it's clipping just inside that line. It is difficult to tell. But
yeah, it's interesting because it does look like it's short, but the referee was just adamant that it was. He saw it the other way.
I feel like he had come here. He was going to stick with his call.
Yeah,
he was going to see what he wanted to see, I think.
Second serve. Mark.
We've
all right, match point,
here.
Match point serve 7. And there it is, Luis Cordova taking down David Fink, slapping his hands together, and Dave Fink slapping Luis on the back. They're both pretty close buddies here. And a high five or a low five there from Daniel Cordova. Luis coming off the court here as quickly as possible, doing a little bit of fist pumping as we have Kara Mack courtside with our winner, our champion, Luis Cordova. Well, we're not going to do that interview. No. Let's talk about it really quickly here, just for a couple seconds, as Kara's going to. I think
he was getting congratulated by a few people there that held up the the process, but I think they have him here now.
Yeah, they're going to definitely get him on. But, you know, Luis had that first game where he dominated. He won 15-2, and then Dave was dominating in game number 2. He was up about 12-5. Luis kind of comes back there, makes it 11-15. And from that moment, when Luis scored about 5 or 6 straight points, or 5 or 6 of those points there in game number 2, it seemed like he had the momentum. And that momentum was carried on into game number 3, where he clearly...
Yeah, I think, as you said there, he definitely carried that momentum. Although he lost that second game, he carried the momentum into the tiebreaker. Dave had it at 5-4. At one point, he kind of did a bit of a run of serves there to get it back to 1 point. But I think from there on, there was the equipment change came at around that point, maybe a moment or two later, and well, I think Luis had pushed on to maybe 10-5 at that point, but or 9-5, and then he got 4 quick points in a row, and I think that really put that distance between them. That
well, that equipment timeout definitely helped Luis, like you said, more than it helped Dave Fink. Let's go to Kara Mack, who is courtside with our champion, Kara.
And let's talk about that. They're talking about the equipment timeout that really helped you out, but bringing your momentum from that first game after losing the second, what did you do in that tiebreaker?
Well, in the first game, I came out really moving my feet. I knew I had to come out strong, like I told you before the match. And I did, and I felt good. Dave was kind of off also, but I felt good. And then in the second game, it was like my momentum went down like it normally happens for some reason. So in the end of the second half, my brother's like, hey, you got to start shooting, moving your feet. And I did, and I made a little comeback. So in the third game, I just thought to myself, all right, no mental errors. You just have to come out and play, move your feet, be loud on your feet.
Was there anything that you learned about Fink in that first game that you knew you could attack?
Not really, because Dave, I knew he was off his game in that first game, and it was just a quick game. It just kind of went through real quick. I didn't really notice much.
Cruising through to the semifinals, what do you know you're going to need to fix from this last one to pull?
Well, I know I need to put the ball down a lot more. I was leaving it up. I was keeping him under pressure, hitting it hard and passing him, but I wasn't putting it down. So I know with killing, you have to put it away as soon as you get a setup.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kara.
Yeah, I think we're finished now.
Yeah, that was a great interview there with Luis Cordova, as they are going to try to plan a little special speech here with some of these sponsors and donors and those that have helped out with the live broadcast and this tournament with our tournament host, Lance Wackel. So, and they're going to coordinate all of this in the sidelines. But meanwhile, though, it's going to be Emmett Pachot going up against Daniel Cordova coming up next. We're going to take a real quick break here, Martin, so we can reset some stuff and get ready for this third match the morning, now in afternoon, in Atlanta, Georgia on ESPN3. It's the World Players of Handball's continued coverage of the Race for 8 Professional Stop number 1 of season number 8 here at Rec Atlanta. We'll have more coming up next. For Martin Mulkerns, my name is Dave Vincent. Stick with us here on ESPN3.